My boss tried to kiss me while drunk at the Christmas party. I said, "If you want, I'll take the lead." The first thing I noticed wasn't his hand on my arm. It was the silence around us. One moment, the Christmas party was loud, laughter spilling over cheap wine, someone singing off-key to Mariah Carey, fairy lights flickering like they were trying to keep secrets. The next moment, it felt like the room had pulled back, holding its breath. My boss, Daniel Mercer, the man who signed my paychecks and approved my vacation days, was standing too close. His breath smelled like whiskey and regret. His eyes, usually sharp and professional, were unfocused, heavy with something he hadn't dealt with in years. He leaned in. And that was when I realized this wasn't about desire. It was about loneliness. He started, his voice unsteady. I took a step back before his lips could reach mine. My heart was pounding, but not with fear. With clarity. "If you want," I said calmly, meeting his eyes, "I'll take the lead." He froze. Not because he was rejected, but because someone had finally interrupted him without humiliating him. I gently moved his hand away from my arm and gestured toward the quieter hallway outside the ballroom. "You don't want to do this," I said softly. "But you do want help." For a moment, I thought he might snap at me. After all, I was just an assistant, replaceable, invisible in most meetings. But instead, his shoulders sagged. The confidence drained out of him like air from a balloon. "I think I messed up," he whispered. "You haven't yet," I replied. "Come on." Earlier that night, I almost hadn't come to the party. Work had been brutal that year. Long hours, constant pressure, and the quiet weight of feeling like I was always one mistake away from being let go. Daniel was demanding but fair, or at least that's what everyone said. He rarely smiled, rarely praised, and never shared anything personal. To me, he was just distant. But as we walked down the hallway, away from the music and the lights, I saw a different man. One who looked exhausted. Hollow. Like someone who had been carrying too much for too long. We sat on a bench near the coat room. I handed him a glass of water from the refreshment table nearby. "Drink," I said. Slowly. He obeyed without argument. "I didn't mean to," he began. "I know," I interrupted gently. "And we're not going to pretend it didn't happen. But we're also not going to let it become something worse." That's when he looked at me, not as an employee, not as a woman he could lean on, but as a human being. "My wife left last year," he said suddenly. "Took the kids. I spend Christmas alone now. I thought if I came tonight, maybe I'd feel normal." There it was. The truth. Not an excuse. An explanation. "I'm sorry," I said. "And I meant it." He laughed bitterly. "You shouldn't be. You didn't do anything wrong." "Neither did you," I replied. "But you're hurting." The party continued behind us, unaware that something fragile and real was happening just beyond its doors. The next Monday, I expected awkwardness. I expected HR emails, uncomfortable glances, maybe even a quiet dismissal wrapped in corporate language. Instead, Daniel called me into his office. He looked sober. Nervous. Human. "I want to apologize," he said before I even sat down. "What happened was inappropriate. And I'm grateful you stopped me." I nodded, my hands folded in my lap. "I've scheduled myself for counseling," he continued. "And I've asked HR to review our holiday event policies. Not because of you, but because I need accountability." That surprised me. "I also want you to know," he added, "that your job is secure. More than that, I'd like to recommend you for the project lead position opening next quarter. You showed leadership when it mattered." I didn't know what to say. So I said the truth. "Thank you for owning it." He smiled, just a little. The kind of smile that doesn't ask for forgiveness, but earns it. Months passed. Work improved. The office felt lighter. Daniel became more present, not just as a boss, but as a person who listened. He left on time. Asked people how they were doing. Learned names he'd ignored before. As for me, I grew too. That night taught me something powerful. Kindness doesn't mean staying silent, and boundaries don't mean cruelty. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop someone, not to punish them, but to protect both of you. At the next Christmas party, Daniel stayed sober. He gave a short speech, not about profits or performance, but about gratitude. Work is important, he said, looking around the room. But people matter more. Our eyes met briefly. No words passed between us. They didn't need to. That night could have ended in shame, anger, or regret. Instead, it ended in growth. Because compassion, when paired with courage, can turn a mistake into a moment of transformation. And sometimes, taking the lead doesn't mean stepping forward, it means knowing when to gently guide someone back to themselves. And that, I learned, is what real humanity looks like.